Central Baltic program is producing series of videos for cost eligibility. This video is about travel and accommodation. Firstly, Sana will shortly introduce the key eligibility principles. Then we will explore concrete cases and questions which we receive from project partners.
This budget line includes expenditure on travel and accommodation for project travels. Typical expenditure consists of long-distance and local transport, hotel accommodation, and daily allowances. There are 4 key eligibility principles. First, as a general rule, travel costs are meant for people working for the project. In addition to that, travel costs can be paid and reported for the target group if it's planned in the approved application form or added later as a minor adjustment. Travel and accommodation costs for steering group members are also eligible. For members of the steering group and target group, daily allowances are not eligible. Second, travel costs must be essential for the implementation of the project, for reaching project main results and outputs and providing promised deliverables. Third, the cost must be paid directly by the partner organization. And fourth, the principle of sound financial management should be applied when choosing transport and accommodation. Some additional points to pay attention to. Travel costs outside the program area are eligible if initially approved in the application form. If the need for such cost appears later during the project, prior contact person approval is needed. Travel and accommodation cost of external experts and service providers, for example speakers in an event, does not belong to this budget line, but can be reported under the external expertise and services budget line.
You presented the main eligibility principles. Since we receive a lot of questions about travel and accommodation costs, let's go one by one. Let's start with the first one. We had some cases when employees of the partner organization are working for a project but not claiming staff costs. How to deal with travel costs for such persons?
The travel and cost of those persons are eligible. In such cases, a job description is needed to link that person to the project. For these employees, also daily allowances are eligible.
To still clarify the first principle, so if travel costs are needed for export projects, for companies to travel to external markets, does it mean that travel cost has to be budgeted and reported in the budget line travel and accommodation?
Yes, exactly. Such cost has to be budgeted and reported in the budget line travel and accommodation because in this case the companies are a target group in the project. Keep in mind that daily allowances are not eligible for target group.
But what to do if partner notices that travel costs for companies in export project are budgeted in the wrong budget line, in budget line external expertise and services?
As a general rule, project partners always report their cost in correct budget line. If the project plans an official modification, the project should include this change in budget modification request and afterwards update the application form accordingly. If the project does not plan to have an official modifications, there are 2 options. If there is no risk of exceeding the 20% flexibility of the travel and accommodation budget line at the project level, no additional action is needed. But if there is a risk of exceeding this 20% flexibility at project level, then project has to do a technical modification. In this case, be in contact with your contact person through lead partner.
Could you explain how to organize correctly from the eligibility point of view travel of the project steering group member to a meeting?
Travel costs need to be paid directly by the project partner. So a good way is that the partner is paying for the travel cost, purchasing, for example, the needed ferry or flight tickets for project steering group member.
Thank you, Sanna, for explaining the first eligibility principle. Now we can move to the next principle, that travel cost must be essential for the implementation of the project, namely, must be essential to achieve project objectives and main results and outputs. Could you explain this principle and give maybe some concrete examples?
Shortly, the travel costs are essential when the travel is, from the project perspective, a relevant person traveling to project or program event. To define this in more words, a relevant person refers to project staff member or member of target group or steering group. Project events include project meetings, conferences, seminars, meetings with target groups which are planned in the application form. And Central Baltic program events include lead partner seminar, implementation seminar, and annual event type of events. Also, external events can be essential to reach project objectives. If participation to these events has been planned in the approved application form, the relevance of the event has been assessed and participation is allowed. Monica, sometimes during the project implementation, project partners would like to attend an external event which is not planned in the application form. What to do then?
Most common cases are events for project promotion or events devoted to professional development and networking on the project topic. This intention should be assessed from the point of view of project objectives. You can start by asking yourself if this travel is essential and directly contributing to your project objectives, helping to achieve your project results. If it is, then you need to be in touch with your project contact person in the secretariat through your lead partner. If your request is approved by the contact person, then it is regarded as a minor adjustment of project activities. I would like to point out that you need the approval of minor adjustments beforehand.
The last eligibility principle is that sound financial management principle has to be applied when choosing accommodation and way of transport. For example, using economy class instead of business class for train, ferry and flight tickets, and standard room in the hotel instead of a suite. Also, even if it's common in the organization to use business class for traveling, it is not in general an eligible cost in the project.
Sanna, we went through the main eligibility principles for travel and accommodation costs, but to be eligible when reporting, also audit trail must be ensured, right?
Yes. I will now explain how to ensure a proper audit trail with concrete example. Travel to a project meeting. Partner employee will travel by train, so there will be an invoice from railway company. For audit trail, for this travel you need agenda for the event so that the specific train travel is linked to the project for the same time. This paid invoice for train tickets. Travel expenses claim for daily allowance if applicable. And then proof of payment is needed for the payment of the train ticket and daily allowance.
So, to summarize, the most important to remember about the travel cost is that it is mainly for people who work in the project, but to some extent also cost for project steering group and target group is eligible. Cost must be essential for the project and paid by partner organization. And sound financial management principle apply for all travels.